Happy Wednesday. Great to be with you. Hey, I've got a kind of an interesting chunk of the book of Proverbs for us today. It's a little bit out of the ordinary. It's not our typical one verse or two verses with something to ponder. It's a little bit lengthier than that. Before we get there, quick reminder what we do with Proverbs. We take these words of God, we look back on our lives and see how God has formed life to work and called on us to act in it. Because we've lived not with full wisdom up till this moment in our life, we see where we've made mistakes, see where we could have done better. And now hearing these words from God, we get equipped to walk into the future a little bit more prepared to live a life of wisdom. All right. So our section for today, like I said, not a single proverb, not one or two verses. It's a little bit longer of a section. But the reason I'm using it is because it is our Old Testament reading for this coming weekend, and because Proverbs shows up so rarely in our readings for worship on the weekends. For all I know, off the top of my head right now, this might be the only time in 3 years that Proverbs shows up. So I'm not going to miss the chance to use a little bit of it. This isn't the whole Old Testament reading, but here are a handful of verses I picked out for you. From Proverbs 9. Whoever is simple, let him turn and hear. To him who lacks sense, she says, come, eat of my bread and drink the wine I have mixed. Leave your simple ways and live, and walk in the way of insight. The reading does close with a couple of proverbs, as you and I are accustomed to them, so I decided to use one of them here. Do not reprove a scoffer, or he will hate you. Reprove a wise man, and he will love you. All right. So the opening section. It's a call for you and for me today to walk in righteousness. If you've ever read this section of the book of Proverbs, happens repeatedly in the opening chapters of Proverbs. There's this, temptation in life. The scene is sort of like a person is walking into town and being called upon from different houses on the street to enter. One house is a house of ill repute. Might look fun, sound fun, but it's not good for you. On the other side of the street, though, Lady Wisdom is calling, and that's who we hear from today. Come in here. I've got food for you. I've got drink for you. Most importantly, I'm calling on you to leave foolish ways behind and to come walk in a way of wisdom. So, as I read that, I guess I just wanted to make the simple case that to walk in wisdom, it's a constant call that you and I receive from God to walk away from the shadowy places of life and to walk in the light. So, as you hear wisdom, maybe just on Wednesdays via these devotions or other times, remember that God is offering you a different call than what the call of the world sounds like. Sure, they'd like to entice you to come on in, entice you to be a part of their lives. God is calling us to something different. That call doesn't happen just once in our lives, but every day, over and over and over again. Before we close, I wanted to at least spend 1 minute on that closing proverb from our section. I can't remember if we've used this exact proverb already, or if it's just really similar to other proverbs that we've used. Let me remind you what it says. Do not reprove a scoffer, or he will hate you. Reprove a wise man, and he will love you. One of the things that's important for us to realize is that if you believe that you are beyond anyone else to correct, that you have achieved such a place of status and stature on top of the heap, either of behavior or knowledge, Bible has tough words for you. Probably means you're the fool. Sort of like that old saying, if you live in the village, you don't know who the village idiot is, it's you. If you think you're beyond being able to be corrected by another, it doesn't really speak to your grand wisdom. It speaks instead to the depths of your foolishness. So you and I should work on that. It's tough to have that kind of humility, to set aside that kind of pride, but to be willing to be corrected by someone who cares about us, loves us, and has what's best in mind for us, especially when those words come from God. Let's close with prayer. Lord, help me to be wise, not according to the world's standards, but according to yours. Help me to choose daily the way of wisdom in the way of Jesus. Amen. As always, thanks for clicking. See you next time.